Come and dream with me.
Hello and welcome to What Do You Want to Watch, this version of our movie podcast. Every week we get together to talk about movies, TV, and online content to help you answer the question, isn't it interesting that Cinemas was able to buy all those costumes off Blade? I'm your host, Ashley Ilbley. Join me today, Dylan Black.
How far into production did they get to have costumes, though, is the thing that I like. Like, they must be very close to. Like, I just don't.
Maybe, but then that also implies that there was going to be a period set piece during Blade.
Yeah.
Like, it was going to be set during the 19... whatevers?
Yeah, would have been cool.
1860s?
I'm just like, you don't make that many costumes about. Surely.
That's a good point. There's like
it's not
that many costumes unless you knew.
Yeah, it's not like one costume or, they're like, oh, we just had a whole bunch of costumes we made for this thing that.
It's also interesting that they're both vampire movies.
Yeah.
Even though they didn't need to be both vampire movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, technically, if someone had been like, those costumes came from the set of, I don't know, some period drama. Would have been like,
Civil War stuff.
Yeah, would have been
some
like,
period drama, yeah.
Sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Why not? Might as well use these things up as many times as possible. On today's episode, we'll be talking about Cinema Watch History, going over some film news, giving you an update on this year's What Do You Want to Watch movie fantasy game, giving some thumbs to trailers, and giving you this week's top 3. Kicking things off, obviously, we talked about it the first half of the series last week. We then got to watch the second half of Ironheart this week. Of course, the latest MCU TV series featuring Riri Williams, a very smart kid who's has a penchant for making iron suits. Who gets into shenanigans because she devotes herself to a life of crime because she needs money real quick. So we get to see the second half of that season. Dylan, we talked about it over on our podcast, all new Marvel cast, all spoilery, in depth, especially about a certain cameo that happens towards the end of the episode that Dylan has been telling everybody about for years that it was going to show up right here. Dylan, what do you think of Ironheart?
Yeah, I think my I don't think my thoughts changed that much between the two sides. Overall, I thought it was a decent series. Probably one of the better ones. I mean, I think there's a lot of really crap ones, to be honest. So the bar wasn't particularly high. Yeah, I mean, the stuff that was most enjoyable was the sort of character stuff, which they continued through to the second half of the season. And I think the only disappointing thing is that by the time the season wraps up, it just feels like half a story, especially where they leave Riri's character. Potentially, there's a lot of potential for an interesting narrative to continue there, but I just don't think that's going to happen. So,
what do you think is the difference between something feeling like half a story and something feeling like a cliffhanger?
I feel like, to me, well, I don't know. Like it's an interesting question you've posed, Ashley.
Is it the knowledge that another season is coming down the pike?
No,
or is it
I'm trying to think. So if I think of like big cliffhangery sort of, I mean, it depends what your cliffhanger is. Like, cliffhanger to me is like Empire Strikes Back. But to me, it's not feeling like you've missed some of the story, because narratively, that film wraps up what that movie was about and then gives you a cliffhanger to want to see where the story goes next. So I think, to me, a cliffhanger is an add-on. It's here's a little bit of a sprinkle for where the story could go next, but we've given you something this. To where it feels like a incomplete story is, hey, from episode 1 of this thing, or from the moment this movie started, we've been working on this narrative thread, this little bit of story. You don't feel fulfilled by the end because we haven't finished it. I feel like that's how I would try and separate the two.
Yeah, I feel like the difference is it's cliffhanger if people think it's cool or not. Pretty much, it's like, oh, that's a cool way to end the season. It's a cliffhanger. It's like, I didn't enjoy that. It feels like an unfinished story. Potentially, especially nowadays. Maybe not back in the day, because obviously during the
I'm trying to think of
TV series, serialized like network television. cliffhangers would be a constant thing. You know?
But again, I would say most serialized TV seasons, the big bad is usually wrapped up, and they leave a
That's true.
cliffhanger for what
Some
the
sort
big,
of emotional
for
cliffhanger.
yeah, or they tease the cliffhanger for it's like if you think of all the I don't know one of the biggest, longest running shows of recent memory, like Supernatural, a show I don't watch, but one of my girlfriends really liked, so I had to watch it. That show would end. It would wrap up the core villain or whatever story of that season. It would then leave you in a cliffhanger of like, oh, they saved the day, but Dean's in hell or Sam, whichever one. You know what I mean? Like
they always took turns.
Yeah. So, but you know what I mean? Like it's like the big bad was beaten. Hoorah! Story finished. But cliffhanger. Here, I feel like that's.
And you don't feel like that's what happened here, where
no,
she technically beat the big guy.
No, because I don't feel like to me
you didn't feel like he was beating Big Bad by just taking some clothing off him.
No, I don't. No.
Spoilers, I guess, but it's too good to point out. Yeah, I mean, it definitely left you wanting more, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but also not a good thing when we don't know what they plan to do, and there is so many things in the MCU that have left us wanting more that we don't know if we're ever going to get. You know. But yeah, I think it was a really interesting story about grief and like dealing with the loss and that kind of stuff, and like even the idea of like just putting off grief and like doing other things to put it off and like bury it down. I think Dominic Thorne does a great job, and I think Alden Ehrenreich's character went, I think we said in the podcast, from 0 to 100 very quickly. His direction, but I think Anthurimus had a more interesting arc over these last couple episodes. So maybe justifies his character, and it seems like he may not disappear from the MCU, and that kind of stuff. And they introduced a bunch of interesting elements in the second half with more magic stuff happening, which is a more interesting element of an unexplored part of the MCU. So, and then we have the cameo, which was cool and funny because of where it is. It weirdly, what? Now I think about it, it kind of reminds me of the first season of Loki, how it ended with Hugh remains at the end, like out of nowhere. Nobody expected it.
Season 2 also ended with a post-credit scene or whatever about him. So I'm sure he's coming. We'll see that story. We're gonna wrap up this story soon. We're gonna hit some loose ends.
Yeah, surely. Yeah, so check out our discussion about Ironheart over on All New Marvelcast. Let's talk about the big box office winner of the weekends. We both went and saw Jurassic World Rebirth.
You can and this is an age thing, I think.
Yeah,
I always go to call it Jurassic Park, and I have some people who call it Jurassic World because they're like younger 20s, and it's always been Jurassic World and like in their whole life. And they'll be like, "Oh, I never watched Jurassic Park until after Jurassic World," which is insane. But yeah, it's always Jurassic Park.
That is insane. It doesn't make sense how you understand this plot of the first movie or world without understanding there's a theme park. Yeah. Anyway, yes. So it's called Jurassic World Rebirth, which is maybe its biggest mistake. I would argue. But it follows a mercenary played by Scarlett Johansson, who was hired by a pharmaceutical company to collect a bunch of samples from a bunch of dinosaurs from a collection of they're all after Dominion. Apparently, it's like 20 years later. All dinosaurs have kind of died out because they're not used to the oxygen or the environment that's been created by man since their time, and they've only been able to survive around the equator. So there's only very small pockets of places where dinosaurs live, including one place where they were doing, laboratory tests and that kind of stuff for the theme park, doing their thing, and mutant dinosaurs, because we all love the mutant dinosaurs. So they're heading to one of those abandoned research facilities to collect these samples. She's got a crew, including a doctor played by Jonathan Bailey and the captain of a ship played by Mahershala Ali. Ed Green plays like a random, mercenary. And they also happen to come across a family who are traveling from Barbados to Cape Town or something, I think. It's like a before she goes away to college adventure, and they get attacked by dinosaurs and get rescued, and they have to come. They end up on the island as well. So somehow they've all got to get these samples, and then they get rescued by a helicopter, and get off the islands. Pretty much, classic Jurassic Universe stuff. I don't know. Dylan, what do you think of the Jurassic World Rebirth?
It's very boring. It's not as bad as what was the last one? Dominion.
Dominion.
Yeah, it's not
Locust free.
Locust free, but sometimes I have to question: what did we lose when we lost the locust?
Chris Pratt.
It's true. And Blue and whatever the hell else was going on.
Yeah.
The only person that's enjoyable in this movie is Jonathan Bailey. Because he's really trying to give something to that character. And he's just a sweet boy. I too am now falling in love with him like the rest of the internet. Just gonna hang posters in my room, I think,
Count the Janes,
but
Wicked, no good.
yeah, I'm a huge Wicked fan. Yeah, but I mean, honestly, it was just so. I've never watched such a big budget blockbuster movie in recent memory that, like, usually they're bad or good. This just feels straight into the what was the fucking point of this? Like, I don't know why this movie exists. It is so just safe and attempting to just. It's just boring because of that. It's like why haven't get Michael Crichton and David
Cope.
Yep, to go back to the original Crichton book and be like, let's bring back the best scene in the movie is they do the raft thing with the T-Rex. That's the best sequence in the whole movie, and that's from obviously the original book that they didn't get to bring into this, that David kept brought into this script, but the rest of it's just so paint by boring ass, bland, boring characters. And I think the most disappointing thing to me is that Gareth Edwards is usually exciting, or at least to me is usually exciting filmmaker, and usually his trouble is character work and stuff that can you'd hope that could be worked out more in the script. But I mean, when you look at his last three movies, with obviously we liked The Creator, Rogue One, Godzilla, these are all movies that I like. I really loved his original, like Monsters. This is by far the worst thing he's done. It's just I found it very, very, very boring to be completely honest. Scarlett Johansson is just, I don't know, she's just floating through this movie, getting paid, good for her. Marshall Ali's trying, I guess. I don't know, Rupert Fienn's just like the most stereotypical bad dude who's like the head of a corporate company. I'm like, it is so paint by bland pastel nonsense. It was, and it seemed to go forever. And I'm like, you're just making dinosaurs boring. Like, you're struggling to me. Like, I really just feel like it's frustrating how this franchise just 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I'm like, the Locust things was dumb, but I do think that at least trying new things and expanding the universe was the right direction. And now they're like, let's go all the way back. Well, back to the fucking island. Let's do that old boring chestnut again. I will say, I watched this movie. I went with Emma from work and her partner because they wanted to watch it. I'm like, well, I'm going. Come sit next to me. Just don't talk to me. Rules to being in the cinema with Dylan. Shut the fuck up. But like Emma she was sitting next to me and doesn't like horror movies or anything, so I'm sure you'd get along. But I'm like sitting there just watching this movie going, fuck, I'm bored. Like at times. And then there's a dinosaur chasing someone and I'm just so tuned in. And out corner of my eye just sees her like hands covering face. Like I'm like, all right, good, I guess. But yeah, it's this. I don't think the thrill of the T-Rex scene, which was great, and I would happily rewatch that and never watch any of the rest of the movie. The thrill of that could not make up for, other than Jonathan Bailey's character, the rest of the characters just being the most boring characters I have ever seen in this franchise. And again, as much as I hated the Locust and we complained about that movie, you still had the legacy characters, and we all liked Chris Pratt's character, and we like Bryce Dallas Howard's character. Like all these characters, you still got characters you like.
Be invested. Yeah.
It was invested. Every movie. I mean, even people complain about 3, right? You still got fucking Sam Neill carrying that thing in your back because it's a character you care about. Who the fuck do I care about in this movie? Other than that, yeah, Jonathan Bailey and his slutty little glasses, as that one reviewer put it. I can't remember what fucking review that was, but best headline I've seen this year, to be honest. Anyway, yeah.
I didn't mind it. I think, like you said, it was incredibly safe and like it hit a lot of the repeats and tropes and elements that we've seen in other Jurassic Park / World films. They're going back to the islands. Of course, there's got to be some sort of family unit that's like involved and like a little kid that's running away from dinosaurs. There's got to be some outlandish, over the top capitalist bad guy amongst the crop who's going to backstab everybody at the worst possible time. And then there's going to be, and especially with these more recent ones, there's going to be some creepy mutant dinosaur that looks more dumb than any actual dinosaur.
It looked like something that belonged in a Godzilla movie, like a
kaiju movie. Yeah,
kaiju movie. Yeah,
it looked like a lot of those ugly dogs with like no snout. It's just a flat face,
Yeah. I'll say at least the first hybrid one they did in World will still look dinosaur-like to me.
Yeah, it was just like we're going Tyrannosaurus Rex because we know everyone else is a T-Rex. We're just going to make it cooler and like more dangerous.
But this thing, I was like, what the fuck is this? Yeah.
This is not dinosaur. This is some sort of Hellion thing. I think, again, the biggest mistake calling it Rebirth. Because there's nothing being reborn or restarted.
I was barely awake.
You should have just been called Jurassic World, back to those islands.
Yeah,
people were still gone.
Yeah. People love things about islands. Love Island.
Yeah.
There's like 17 spin-offs of that.
Yeah, there's so many island things,
Yeah.
Survivor Islands.
See? Islands,
you're always talking about islands and Survivor.
Yeah, Tasmania.
Oh, I think you've pushed the metaphor too far. Jonathan Bell is really good. I enjoyed Scarlett Johansson, especially towards the start of the film, where she's kind of I don't know, off-puttish? No, what's the word? She's just like kind of nonchalant about anything and everything, and I don't think her backstory of I just lost somebody worked.
She's like, I lost someone on a job. I need all this money. I'm like, what else do I know about you?
Yeah.
And then that one scene where she talks to Mahershala Ali and where they have like a 2-minute conversation about losing that person. I still am like, I don't understand your relationship enough to care.
Yeah. So it'll just depend if you like Scarlett Johansson or not. If you're on board or not. Same with Mahershala Ali. I think it's just based completely on star power, whether you'll appreciate them in those roles. I did enjoy like the little family unit that was working together. Like, you got the douchey
who's the fucking
boyfriend.
Stoner. Yeah.
What?
The stoner boyfriend.
Stoner boyfriend who doesn't believe he's good enough, apparently. That doesn't really get paid off, unfortunately. Other than he's constantly helping them. I did enjoy the scene where he goes to take a leak.
That was funny, actually. Yeah.
That was a great scene. Dolores is delightful. Although
she's not. She takes a dinosaur out of its habitat.
But the dinosaur is cute.
There may or may not be family there. And this whole movie sort of sets up a thing where it's like, man, we brought dinosaurs back, and then they nearly all fucking died because they can't live in our climate. So now they've gone to these corners of these fucking Earth. Anyway, I'm going to take this fucking baby back to New York City. Like, what are we doing? Spoilers. Who cares?
But the dinosaur itself was cute.
Your cuteness can't take away from this nonsense.
It was very adorable, although
the whole movie
it has like full on. It has like
dinosaur, I've never seen a character, and 100% you cannot tell me that dinosaur. And I'm saying character. That dinosaur was designed to sell some fucking.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's totally what it was for. We need to get some merch in here. Nobody bought. We've got so many blue statues left. It's like we need something else.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out kids don't love the raptors. Or don't want to like hide them in their house. I mean there are some fun enough sequences. I think the stuff on the boat, like I think it looked good. I think that's something we haven't talked on. I think it looked, the dinosaurs, other than the ugly mutant ones, looked arguably better than they did in the last World. Admittedly, it has been a little while.
I
since we've
would
seen
say
it.
it looked as good as I would expect.
Yeah.
Which, here's the thing. These movies, technology's got so good, obviously. I just don't think, I'm like, it looked as good as I would expect and not better.
Yep. Also, I think they played it safe by not fully going into what they were planning on doing. Because I think those dinosaurs, the land dinosaurs that we're getting a sample from, they were going to reproduce right there and then. And they chickened out.
And old mate's like, let me touch your leg. Let me touch your leg.
It's so weird. I mean, there was some bad CGI, like when they're on the cliffs, like for the pterodactyl, whatever it is, like very clearly that kind of stuff. And some of it, the convenience of stuff is like very over, like everybody, around that section. And the final sequence of taking out this mutant dinosaur, not super fun. But I think they hit enough beats that a general audience will enjoy it. You know, maybe people who weren't wanting more from this franchise than exactly what it is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm pretty sure.
I think if you're of the opinion that I can't believe they killed off all the dinosaurs, and like we're going back to take it all the way back to how it started.
Yeah,
because it was really cool when we were in New York City at the start of the film, and there's a fucking
that was really cool. I would have liked more of that.
Yeah,
explore that more.
We have this 16, 17 year period. We can tell a bunch of stories in there. Let's just do that next time. But yeah, I don't think it's a surprise that this movie made a ton of money at the box office. Because it is exactly what people kind of want. A known property with dinosaurs. It turns out, kids love dinosaurs.
There was kids in my screening too. It's weird, but
yeah. What was your screening like? Was it reasonably full, or like?
I think there was half-ish. Yeah,
which is pretty good for Tasmania.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That I think I went with two people I'd call normal movie watchers. Obviously, it sounds like a derogatory thing when you say it, but casual fare. And they enjoyed it, and I didn't want to shit in their parade and be like, I was bored. But
but you'll send them this podcast now, right?
Oh, fuck those. No, I won't. But if they choose to listen, my true thoughts reveal themselves. Because also, I just hate that thing. Sometimes I hear people talk about movies, and I'm sometimes my one good side of my brain kicks in and goes, just
so worth it.
Just leave it, Because you know what I'll get. I know what I'll get hit with. Because the most common comeback for any casual movie watcher, I think, anytime you try to apply any criticism is, why can't you just have fun?
Why can't you turn your brain off?
Why can't you just enjoy things? Why don't you just turn your brain off? Yeah, and I'm just like,
yeah.
I didn't like the Jurassic World. It's not really something you should just turn your brain off and enjoy it, Dylan.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought I was offering criticism to the art. And the art bored me.
The arts. All right. Jurassic World, cinemas everywhere. Go see it. Dylan, you watched a few episodes of a new series, I believe is streaming on Binge, Revival, based on the Tim Seeley comic book.
Yeah, I was like slightly interested in this, and then Binge did one of those text message things where they're like, we miss you. Where have you gone? Was it HBO Max? Come back, we'll offer you 50% off. I was like,
99% off.
I was like, yeah. I was like, there's some stuff I'm watching. Revival. You're correct. I believe it is a Tim Seeley comic, which I've read some of. I probably only read the first six issues, and I've never gone back and read any more. But, so 4 episodes are out so far. Enjoyed what I've watched so far. The premise is basically, and here's the other thing with this. This show sounds like a lot of a few other similar shows that have come out in the last 10 years. But the comic predates some of said shows. So, but basically, it's in this small American town. One night, the dead all come back to life, and not in a like, oh, we're all zombies. Like, they just come back. They're now people, and now this town has sort of been sectioned off by America. It's like under quarantine because of what the fuck's going on. If anyone who had like something happened to them before they died, they've kept it. So like I don't know if you were on fire when you died, you're back alive, but you look fucked up. You're burnt. If you have a massive scar from where you were stabbed or something like that, when you die, you come back to life, and that's like a permanent scar. However, if all these people can't die now, so they basically like can cut. If they cut themselves open anywhere, they'll be fine. They get stabbed anywhere, they're fine, and those wounds will heal. But any old ones have stayed there. So it is a mystery show. Like, what is going on? And the main core cast members are the Cypress family. So you've got the sheriff, sheriff, I guess, who's like the other two main characters' father. The other main character is like a I don't know exactly, but she's also part of the police station there. And then the younger sister, who is a reviver, as they call them, that you find out. It's a spoiler after like the first episode, sorry, but she did die. However, she doesn't remember how she died, and across the episodes, she's trying to piece together what happened to her. In the background, you've got you've got some other weird characters, including there's like this one like ultra religious dude who's doing the whole like revivers are bad, it's we need to, God would say evil, and he's played by is it Stephen Ogg from Grand Theft Auto? Is that it? It's like Stephen Ogg, I think. Ogg? I'm googling.
I don't know.
Stephen, hold on. Yeah, Stephen Ogg, the dude who played what's the character that Trevor? Yeah, he played Trevor. That dude. Yeah, so he plays this like ultra zealot religious sort of dude. Yeah, no, I'm really enjoying it so far. I enjoyed the comic when I checked it out, and I think I've pretty covered pretty much what I've read based on what I can remember from like. Yeah, so it's sort of all here. I vaguely remember some main things, including they have this one big fight, well, not even a fight, but like a reveal that this crazy lady who revive an old lady. She like starts fighting them with a scythe, basically. And I always remember that. I think that was on the front cover art, actually. But anyway, but yeah, can keep watching that. Very much enjoying it. The acting's all good. Enjoying the main cast, enjoying the mystery and how it's going to unfold. But yeah, so it's cool.
Awesome. All right. I watched the new Prime Video film that came out this week, Head of State, in which John Cena plays a action hero movie star who gets voted as president of the United States, and
that would never happen.
Idris Elba plays a former army veteran who becomes the prime minister of England, and they're kind of they're coming together for a big NATO meeting. They become adversarial. They've because Johnson is ticked off that he went out for fish and chips with his political opponent during the campaign, as if kind of giving his endorsement, so he feels slighted. So as a gesture of goodwill, John Cena lets Idris Elba on Air Force One to take the flight to NATO. Unfortunately, they get attacked on the way. The Air Force One gets taken out and they escape by parachute. Now they have to work their way back to civilization, but knowing that somebody's out to kill them, or at least John Cena, for whatever reasons. It's kind of a mystery as to who's behind everything and all that kind of stuff. It's fun. It is one of those casual movies that people enjoy. Because if you do that thing where you turn your brain off.
It's a washing movie. It's a washing,
it is, exactly. It's the entering data into spreadsheets movie. Yeah. Which was what it was. Not a lot of plot there. There's some fun appearances. Jack Guy shows up as like a person who runs like a Warsaw safe house and that kind of stuff. There's some fun banter and that kind of thing. Idris Elba and John Cena. Like John Cena's playing like the character that he's been playing a lot of in movies. The over the top, like making lots of jokes and being as humorous as possible, or playing against the type, I guess, of John Cena, the wrestler. And then you've got Idris Elba being Idris Elba and like kind of being the straight man, or like the sensible, practical one of the two of them. Then you've got Priyanka Chopra, who plays like a special UK special services person who happens to have a past with Idris Elba's character and that kind of stuff. So, and yeah, it's all about a bunch of like, there's a mole in one of the governments, and like they're being taken out because of some energy kind of thing. I don't know. A lot of the plot didn't make a lot of sense. But if you just want to see them going around being silly, shooting guns, fighting some people, it's a solid time. I don't regret watching it. I'll say that at the very least. It was enjoyable enough, which is exactly what I want to hear about a movie. It served its purpose of keeping me entertained while I was working on something else. So, Head of State. Apparently, number one movie on Prime Video.
All I'll
this weekend.
say, sometimes when quite often, like some of my favorite shows are shows I watch while doing things, not because they're bad, but because they're quite good to. You don't have to watch trash, Ash, is what I'm saying. Like
but sometimes you just want to be in the know about what people are wanting to watch. And a lot of people were watching it because, like I said, number one Prime Video this weekend. So, and we know as from Netflix rating, like the list of top 10s, people love to watch that trash.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Dylan, you watched a film called Frankie Freako.
Frankie Freako is the new film from the director of... hold on, what's his name? Hold on. Stephen Konstansky? Stephen Konstansky. Anyway, did PG Psycho Gorman, which I loved, came out in 2020. Talked about that on here before. So was keen for this. It's very good. I had a lot of fun with this movie. It's a good time. You could watch this, by the way. This is not a real horror movie. This is a Gremlins. This is that vibe of silly. So basically, it follows this dude who, office worker, living the high life. His wife's going away for the weekend. He tells her, he's like, I'm gonna live it up this weekend. She's like, you're gonna order pizza. He goes, no, I'll do more than pizza. I'm gonna clean the house. Like he's a real party animal. And then one night he's watching late night TV, and you can tell the movie's sort of inspired by the really weird, and obviously we don't have them anymore, but the after 10 p.m. call 1-800 to fucking some weird shit. And that's what the ad is. And it's like, call this number if you want a party. And one night he's like, well, that's it. I'm no loser, I want a party. He calls the number, and then he wakes up next morning, can't remember what the hell happened, and he comes downstairs and his house is trashed, and there's three little I don't know, they're like goblin looking creatures. They refer to themselves as freakos. That's what they are. They're freakos, and they're here to party, Ash. They're here to have a good time. And
makes sense.
And yeah. That and they have a bit of war and backwards and forwards, rather, some hijinks ensue, running around the house, some slapstick comedy for everyone's enjoyment, and then eventually we end up sucked into Freako land, where the big mob boss that runs said place is after Frankie Freako, because Frankie Freako, he's not one to be put down under the thumb of the man, and that's what's happening over there. Frankie's here to party. He's not here to fuck around. So, but yeah. The movie's a lot of fun. I had a very good time with it. It's obviously targeted at a particular sort of audience that wants to enjoy the I guess the blast from the past mentality of a combination of really silly special effects and quite well done practical effects and these characters, which I don't actually know if they're puppets or animatronic, whatever the go is, but they look good, and yeah, I had a good time. Would recommend.
All right. Let's move into the mandatory Netflix segment of the show. And I watched The Old Guard 2, the sequel to the 2020 movie, starring Charlize Theron, who leads a group of immortals who go out performing missions around the world for the betterment of man, while trying to hide their secret of being immortals. This is a sequel film. Follows up on certain elements from the previous film, so you do need to watch the last one. In the last one, it's revealed that Charlize Theron's character is
Live
like,
forever or something. Shit.
Yeah, she's like 3,000 years old.
That's all I can remember.
But during the witchcraft era, she was running around with a partner, like a female partner. Her female partner, Kui, got captured and like was put in a metal tomb and dropped to sea. But because she's immortal, she couldn't drown. But I guess, for this 500 years since, she was just constantly drowning in the water. And she was never able to find her. So she's like, was left at the bottom of the ocean to this fate. Start of this movie, she's been rescued by somebody who turns out to be another immortal, played by Uma Thurman, who happens to be much older than all the previously revealed immortals. And she has a plan because she wants to get rid of all the immortals for whatever her reasons are. And it's a bit of a psychological thing, emotional story. All these people kind of coming together and putting all their wounds together. Whereas the first movie was kind of like this action-packed kind of action movie. This one's a little bit slower, fewer action set pieces, more talky and that kind of stuff. And I guess spoilers. It is the middle part of the story. It's clear that they've set this up with the designs to do a sequel, and it definitely feels like that. So, know that going in, I guess. Because like we were talking about cliffhangers earlier, this one definitely feels like it's half a movie story. It doesn't feel like a cliffhanger. I'm like, there was a certain point, like, oh, it's really interesting. Like they're going to. I wonder how much more time there is in this movie. It's like 15 minutes. I'm like, oh, they're not going to wrap this up, and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it's fine. Not as good as the first one. Charlize Theron's very good in what she does. Her action sequences are very good from what little she gets to do. So yeah, I don't know if they'll actually do a third one because I don't think the response to this has been super impressive. Like until I hear some good Netflix numbers, I don't know if there will be a conclusion to this story. Unless they're like, we might as well just make a third one to have a conclusion. Then people will rewatch these movies potentially. So yeah, Old Guard 2.
I'm shocked.
Yeah,
at this movie.
You're right, Dylan. You're right when we talked about the trailer. Happy now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Let's talk about some of the documentaries you watched this week. How about the one you wrote a review for up on the website? You wrote a review for Trainwreck, The Real Project X, which you gave a 3 out of 10.
Yeah, it was trash. So this is about a thing that happens in I can't remember town, somewhere in like fucking Norway or Denmark or something. I can't even remember now. But so these people, basically this girl puts up a Facebook post for a birthday. This is like 2003 or whatever. So everyone's understanding of social media is a little bit different, I think. Doesn't realize, public event. So then people start adding themselves and whatever. So she eventually like takes it down. People re-add it. People start resharing it. Everyone's like, we're going to this party. Thousands of people do it. This gets passed around the town. People pass it to the mayor and say, hey, these people are coming. He's like, nah, it's fine. We'll just put up cops if they do. We'll stop them. Then all these people basically show up in this town. Out front, they have the cops prepared. They show up there outside the woman's house, this girl's and the father's and whatever house, and they just like drink in the middle of the street and end up just writing for no unknown reasons. And the whole thing just has an interview of people being like, yeah, man, like we didn't know what would happen. It was just, we thought it would be funny and all this. I'm like, these are all terrible people. I don't know what the fucking point of this documentary is. Also, it's really weird to call it Trainwreck, the Real Project X or whatever, because Project X is a movie, a teen party movie that came out that has the people
2012 movie.
Yeah, that they've already said that movie was inspired by Worthington, whatever, from Australia. Was the inspiration for that movie? Mr. Fuckface Yellow Glasses on TV being like, yeah, bro,
Corey Worthington. There we go.
Corey Worthington. There we go. Yeah, so I'm like, well, it's a lie. It's not the real Project X because they've already said that the real Project X was inspired by something else. So what are we doing here? Anyway, yeah, don't recommend that one. This whole project, this Trainwreck thing is, some of these things are alright and some are not. So.
Like some kind of train wreck?
Yeah.
You know, like some carriages are up and some carriages are down.
Well,
where does Trainwreck, the Cult of American Apparel, fit?
I thought this one was a little bit more interesting. So this is about the company American Apparel, huge clothing brand that got defunct, shut down. I think they used to fuck now, but they basically kicked the main dude off once he gets accused of all these, sexual misconduct with his staff and whatever else. But I'll put it this way: by the end of the movie, they build this whole dude up, and they have interviews with former staff, and some people are like, these are the conditions we had to work of, and they've got one dude who's very much like, I really respected him and he helped me push this way, but obviously now this is okay, and so they had some interesting ups and downs with this dude, but by the end of this thing, you're like, yeah, man, this guy's horrible. Like, no wonder the board kicked him off, even if I guess he's some of his ideas are cool, and like he's like, we're gonna make clothing in America. It's not imported. We're not using cheap child labor or anything. Like, we're gonna proper wages, pay people here, make cool clothing. It was really pushing like sex sells, all these like sort of wild ideas and whatever else at the time in their marketing and stuff like that. And then at the end of the movie, they go, anyway, so what's happening to him now? He's now the one of the CEO/board members for another big clothing company. And like the picture reveals itself, and it's him standing next to Kanye because he's part of Yeezy now, the fucking clothing brand. I'm like, yeah, that adds up. That makes sense. So, no, this one was enjoyable. This one, was interesting. Yeah.
As far as I can tell, American Apparel is still a brand. So,
I thought it completely shut down there.
All right, and not a Trainwreck film documentary, but you did watch Attack on London, hunting the 7/7 bombers. Is that what they call it?
7/7 is, yeah. So it's the day that all these bombs went off in London, and I didn't realize. I guess it's because we don't hear it talked about as much, but they do refer to it as 7/7, like they're 9/11 basically. Which I've never heard in my life, but everyone says it in this documentary like it's a thing, and I'm like, I guess internationally it's just. Yeah, I guess it's more of a. But yeah, so it's 7 July to 2005. I know it said 2025. I was like, it definitely was this year. Yeah, so these 4 separate bombs go off on trains in different locations around London, all within like semi-quick succession, and this tracks the obviously the devastating aftermath of what's happened. It's got interviews with people that were on there that managed to live through it, talking about their traumatic experiences. It's got interviews even with Tony Blair, obviously the Prime Minister at the time, talking about how he was, what his response to the whole thing was, and how he dealt with it, and whatever else. It's quite interesting watching it, just seeing them. There's like Tony Blair there standing next to John Howard at one point, and all this stuff. I'm like, fuck, this is ages ago. John Howard's like, just like, put in perspective of obviously, Australia's had 16 different prime ministers in the time since this has happened. Yeah, so, but yeah, no, very interesting. It does, and I think the reason that I think the choice that elevates it a little bit up in my echelon is it has interviews with like Muslims that were on there, and then also like how that affected them after the fact, with a little bit, I guess, of the racially motivated targeting from the police, and it even has a and how they talk about how it was really hard for them to try and, I guess, do it properly without trying to do that fine line. They have a part where they talk about how they shot and killed this dude who this completely botched operation where they were like tracking this person because there was an attempt at more bombs that luckily didn't go off because they fucked up the bomb mixture basically, and none of these bombs went off properly. But there's like all this video footage of people like activating them, but they don't go off different places. Then they're trying to track down these people, and they think they've tracked one down, and they're tracking him, and they have interviews with some police that were involved in it. One of them, under shadow, doesn't want to reveal his identity, and it becomes obvious why, which is because he chases this. They chase this dude onto this subway, and at this point, they have no communication with the people who were above in the car or whatever, because the cell signal doesn't work once you go into the subway. So they just make the choice they just shoot him. But he was innocent. It was the completely wrong person. So, horrible incident. And they talk about it with at least the two that were in this, and especially the dude who you don't see his face. You can tell he's like sort of riddled with guilt for what he's done. I would recommend watching it. It was obviously harrowing at times, and whatever word you want to use. I will say it's 2 episodes. For some reason, Trakt has it as 4.
Okay, interesting.
As a side note, it's one of those ones where I'm hoping someone fixes it, but
yeah. Also very amusing. Well, you're talking about. I just looked at the date. It's like of today we're recording.
Oh shit! Fuck! I didn't actually. Yeah, crazy.
Probably explains why it was out. But
that makes for the. I guess feels weird to call anniversary, but
yeah.
All
right, that's everything I watched history. Let's move on. Of course, it is the moved over the halfway point of the year, so it's time to check in on the What Do You Want to Watch movie fantasy game. If you don't know, we both selected 10.
Yeah, you're telling the story.
10. Here we go. Yeah, 10 movies at the start of the year. 8 normal picks and 2 wildcard picks. We got a whole point system to score these based on Metacritic score now, because Rotten Tomatoes has fucked me, and box office performance. We make some other extra picks during the year during certain film festivals, and we also make a few extra picks in the middle of the year now that we know a bunch of extra movies that will be coming out. So, the scores as they sit now. Dylan is currently on 100. No, Dylan is on 69.
Nice.
And I'm on 144.
Bullshit.
So a little bit of a points differentiative. But of my initial 8 picks, I've only got 3 left to be released of Dylan's initial 8
picks. And I've
picks.
got 8.
He's got 5 to come out. So
fucking hell. I'll say after this, you need to go through what I've picked, because when I wrote my short list for this, I'm like, I cannot remember if I picked any of these things before.
Yeah, so we'll run through Dylan's list. So we've got Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning.
Money.
Which currently has a Metacritic score of 67.
That's fine, money.
No box office points, so only 7 points. Yeah. We got Fantastic Four: The First Steps, about to come out
soon. Yeah.
Avatar: Fire and Ash, coming soon.
Mm-hmm.
Wicked for Good,
coming soon. By coming soon, you mean December, but
yeah, coming soon-ish, I guess.
Yeah.
Then we got Elio, a 66.
I picked Elio.
Yeah,
playing to win.
6 points. You got F1 the movie.
You
got 68 on Metacritic, so plus it's currently sitting at number 10 on the box office, so 10 points. You got Zootopia 2, coming soon. Predator Badlands, coming soon.
I think, but that's fine. Yep.
And then the first wildcard was Jurassic World Rebirth, which has already earned you 4 points, even though it's got a 52 on Metacritic.
That's
Then you've also at Sundance you picked Together, which has netted you 16 points.
You
picked The Alabama Solution, which was a documentary that not enough people have reviewed, and thus has no Metacritic score.
Yet.
I mean, I don't know what their planned schedule is.
Yet.
Hopefully, it gets a wider release sometime this year. Otherwise,
Melbourne International Film Festival is happening. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, okay.
They're going to release their schedule this Thursday, and then massive Australian reviews for that one.
At Cannes, you've got Nouvelle Vague, the Richard Linklater film. 11 points from that. And Diamond Love, 15 points from that. So still a lot of points to potentially earn with those batch of movies. I will say you picked The Bride as one of your wildcards, which has been delayed to next year. So
rip.
That's a disappointment. So
it's fine. It's a wildcard,
Yeah. On my side, I've still got Superman to come out this week. Very exciting. Mickey 17 earned me 12 points. Thunderbolts has earned me 16 points currently. Lilo and Stitch, despite having a 53 critic score, has earned me 11 points as it currently sits number 2 in the box office. Sinners has earned me a massive 34 points. One Battle After Another is set to come out. Ballerina is my first negative. I got -1.
Can you say the full movie title, please?
From the World of John Wick, Ballerina.
Thank you, because I didn't know what you were talking about before.
Okay, cool. It's got a 59 Metacritic, so it's -1 point. And then I've got Wake Up Dead Man, A Nice Mystery, which will come out later this year. On the wildcard front, I've got a Minecraft movie, so 16 points for good box office. And then Megan 2, 0 points, because it's poorly performed critically and box office wise.
No one's watching that movie.
I know, it's surprising, right?
Mm.
Again, marketing. It's crazy. At Sundance, I had The Wedding Banquet, so I got 8 points from that. And then Opus, which did not do very well, 0 points. And then I selected Sentimental Value, a can, 38 points. And that should be different anyway. Doesn't matter. The Finishing Scheme earned me 10 points. That's how I got up to 144. Run through the top box office so far this year. I didn't put the information in yesterday. I need to change it because it had gone up since and things had moved around. So number 10, F1 the movie. Number 9, Jurassic World Rebirth. Number 8, Sinners. Number 7, Thunderbolts. Number 6, Captain America: New World Order. Number 5, How to Train Your Dragon. Number 4, Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning. Number 3, a Minecraft movie. Number 2, Lilo and Stitch. Number 1, the surprise movie, Neja 2. That no movie is going to catch. Because it is sitting at almost $1.9 billion. Lilo and Stitch is at $972 million. So, that's interesting. Alright, so let's draft. So we're picking 3 picks at the mid-year plus 1 wildcard entry. So Dylan, do you want to make your first mid-year pick?
Unless I missed it, has anyone picked Wicked for good yet?
Yes, you picked it already.
Oh, good on you, pass Dylan. I might have missed that. Delete that off my list. Then in that case, I will go. I'm gonna go weapons.
Ooh, good pick. Obviously, the who's directing that one?
Can't remember the director's name, but the follow-up to
Barbarian.
Barbarian, yeah.
Is Krieger? Zach Krieger? That
sounds right. That sounds right. Yeah.
Cool.
Great marketing. Both trailers are bangers.
They do look very good. My first pick is going to be A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. Love that Kogonada. That looks like a really good trailer. I'm here for Margot Robbie doing a UK accent. Imitating, just mocking Colin Farrell. Dylan, what's going to be your second pick?
Second pick, I'm going to go The Running Man, which we'll be talking about again very soon.
Ooh. Another good pick. Running Man.
Glenn Powell, that cinema. He's the guy.
It kid at the moment.
The it guy, draw people in.
All right. I'm going to go. My second pick, I'm going to go with The Smashing Machine. The new Benny Safdie?
Yes.
One of the Safdie brothers, starring Dwayne Johnson trying to be a professional actor. Pretending to be a UFC fighter. Yeah. So we'll see how that pans out, Dylan, what's your third media pick?
Third mid-year pick. I will go with. You know what? No, that feels. Oh, is that wildcardy? Mm-hmm. Let's go with Tron Ares.
Whoa! Big swing. Is it kind of crazy that we haven't seen very much of Tornadoes yet? That feels like a movie we'd see at
Yes
least
and
a
no.
massive trailer.
I'm
Maybe they're just waiting for the summer to be over.
Yeah, I'm thinking they're going to try and do a big media push for it, like marketing campaign, but they want to wait until they can
Wait till the
drive
summer
some
period's over, all these Marvel movies. And
drive
everything.
drive it up its ass till success, hopefully.
That reminds me, I completely forgot. You went to see Jurassic World Rebirth, right?
Yeah,
In cinemas.
yeah. They
Did
didn't
you
play it in
see
the trailer?
the
No,
Odyssey
they didn't
trailer?
play it. No, did you?
No.
Yeah,
Well, I saw
must
it
be
before. But I've seen reports that it was playing in front of cinemas here in Australia.
Didn't see it, and I was in there earlier than I usually am, so I didn't see any of the trailers. That said, put it online. Fuck Nolan. Press play on your Nokia. You know, like.
Actually, I haven't seen. Usually, like people have already put it on social
No,
media.
I saw a couple. I saw a couple Reddit posts. I follow leaked something rather on Reddit as like notifications on. It got posted there a couple times when I was sleeping, and by the time I woke up in the morning, it had been removed. So, they're on it.
Yep.
Copyright strikes.
All right. Look at my list. What do I want to pick? So there's some pretty good movies that are coming out still this year.
I think they better be because, to be honest, I think the first 6 months of 2025, meh.
Okay.
I think it's been super strong.
No, that's fair, and I'm sure we'll get to it in our top 3. But I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Black Phone 2.
Had that on my shortlist too.
That seems like a pretty safe bet. And really, that's all I need to do. I need to just hit and say, just hitting 5 points each.
Movies to come out with plus in front of them.
Yeah. All right, Dylan, what is your final pick, your wild card entry?
Wild card, The Anaconda.
Is it The Anaconda?
I think so.
I will just put Anaconda and then I will retitle it whenever.
Yeah. It's the Anaconda movie with Jack Black and Paul Rudd. And what's the other guy's name? The guy's name I can't remember how to say.
Bad Bunny.
Now I do need to look it up. Hold on. Sorry, it's just called Anaconda. I've added the Jack Black, Paul Rudd. No, that's not who I was thinking. Daniela Melchor's in it. Danny Newton's in it. I was thinking of Steve Zahn.
That guy who's you don't know how to pronounce his name. Was there somebody else who was rumored to be in the cast? Or dropped out? No?
Yeah, I know who I'm thinking of, but because I can't think of his name, then I can't help you think of it.
Could you think of... Yeah, no, okay.
Anyway, that movie, I presume won't be good, but what I'm hoping is that
nostalgia will hit so good.
Nostalgia plus Jack Black draws people to cinemas. Well, hold on. Nostalgia plus Jack Black. Like, it's at the end of the day, it's a trailer that's going to play that says Jack Black and Paul Rudd are in a movie together, and people go watch it.
Are you concerned that it's coming out December 25th?
No.
You think it'll make enough money in that 1 week?
Yeah. I think if they're putting it out, then they have faith in this. Weirdly.
To put in perspective, Jurassic World Rebirth made $300 million its first weekend. It just got in at number 9.
Cool story, bro.
Okay, I'm just provide the facts.
I'll say this director, Tom Gormican, starts his career. Well, not starts his career, but his big movie, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Great movie. Such a wild project. Goes from that to Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F. Now this. What a bouncing around of projects and ideas that is.
Yep. All right. My wild card pick is going to be The Walk, the latest film from Francis Lawrence. The Long Walk. The latest film from Francis Lawrence, which is The Hunger Games, but they're just walking. Based on Stephen King novel. Has a bunch of young stars, could have a lot of potential, but also could be not good.
That's
This
the
is just
definition of a wild card pick, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any other films that you would shout out that you've like?
The only stuff left on my short list after deleting everything here is 2 films. I have Roofman
Yes, that's on my
and
list.
Mortal Kombat 2.
Wow.
Which was gonna be my other wild card if I didn't lock in.
Yeah. So what have I got? I got Roofman, The Roses, the Olivia Colman, Benedict Cumberbatch comedy that's coming up with Shooter Gatwa. That's a joke. It's in the movie called The Roses. Doctor Who reference. Good Fortune, which is the Aziz Ansari directed film, in which Keanu Reeves plays an angel who wants to be a guardian angel. Springsteen. That seems like something he'll probably do well. Begonia is the next what's his face? With Emma Stone, Jesse Plemons. Director of The Favourite and the other one with Emma Stone.
You've got it, man. Yeah.
Yep. I'm gonna have to look it up.
Yorgos
Lanthimos. There we go. That's coming out soon. Or later this year. I had Marty Supreme, which has been the one with Timothée Chalamet, directed by the other Safdie brother, which plays table tennis. And then Scarlet, which is the Japanese anime directed by Mamoru Hosada, who previously did like Mirai and what are his films? He was The Beast and the Boy, Summer Wars. That's what I'm looking at.
I've seen both those.
Yep, The Girl Who Left Third Time. So that's his latest
and
one.
That.
And Belle, I think that was his last one. So that's coming later this year. I'm very keen for that one. So that was on the list. But yeah, I guess we'll wait. So September is our next batch of picks. Interestingly, Venice and the Toronto Film Festival overlap this year. So we're going to have our final 4 picks pretty much the same.
What?
Yeah.
Who made that decision?
I don't know. Usually they're like a week or 2 apart, but this year they're actually like taking place at the same time. Competing for celebrities.
All
right, those are all movies that are coming later this year. Let's talk about some other movies that are also coming out later this year because they've got trailers in thumbs for trailers. Some movies they're coming out even further away.
Amazing segue. Yep.
I'm the king of segues. Of course, you can find all the trailers we're about to talk about in the show notes below. Kick things off with a movie that actually is coming out next year. Project Hail Mary. Directed by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, starring Ryan Gosling, Sandra Hüller, and Milana Van Troob. Astronaut Rylan Grace awakens on his spacecraft with no memory of himself or his mission. He slowly deduces that he is the sole survivor of a crew sent to Tau Ceti solar system in search of a solution to a catastrophic event on Earth. In his search for answers, Grace must rely on his vast array of scientific knowledge, sheer ingenuity, and human will, but he may not have to search alone. Dylan, what do you think of the trailer for Project Hail Mary from Andy Weir, writer of The Martian? Based on a book by Andy Weir, writer of The Martian.
Keen, double thumbs up, can't wait. Very good trailer. Ryan Gosling looks very funny in it. Also reminded me that I've had these audiobooks for ages and I've never listened to it. So,
are you going to, or are you going to just wait for the
movie?
movie?
Now because I really like The Martian, which I read before that movie came out. And I mean, I've talked about The Egg on here before, right?
Check out
about The Egg. Some
random episode of Pleasure Explosion, our first ever podcast here on the Explosion Network. I distinctly remember talking about.
Definitely talked about The Egg at some point. And then his last book.
Isn't this his most recent one?
No, there's one in between. Sorry, in between The Martian and this. I can't remember the name of it. That was okay, but yeah, I'm okay. I think the thing that has been most excited is other than like obviously Phil Lord and Christopher Miller directing it, but Drew Goddard, who adapted The Martian to script for the Ridley Scott comedy, that he's done this as well. So you know he's worked within adapting Andy Weir's work before, which I think is a big plus to this to me. So yeah, very keen.
Yeah, very keen as well. 2 thumbs up. I think it's a really well put together trailer. I think maybe it doesn't get across the idea that when he's in space, he's got like some sort of amnesia, and then he's remembering all these stuff that we see beforehand. You know, that is an element that isn't exactly clear.
Movie starts, and
then you're like, why doesn't he remember all this? Why is he confused? You know,
wow.
So well, that could be an
question,
interesting thing. So
it's because that alien managed to give him a wazza, you know.
Wazza,
and
yeah, you know. Yeah, interesting concept. Ryan Gosling. Admittedly, it is funny that he is going, "Oh, I'm definitely not an astronaut. It can't be. I put the not in astronaut." You know,
yeah,
when he played freaking Neil Armstrong in another movie.
yeah.
You know, just using meta jokes.
I'm wondering how much I will wonder how much of that personality is being added because of him in the role, or if that carries over from the book. It's like one of those things. I'm like, I wonder if that's actually written into the character. But yeah, because just him in that one scene where it's like, guys, how many times I have to say it? I'm an astronaut. Like, I'm not an astronaut.
Yeah. It feels like it's added in because it's for Lord and Chris Miller, you know. Which it's crazy. I don't think this might be their first movie since freaking 21 Jump Street or 22 Jump Street. You know what I mean?
Live action, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, live action. Well,
yeah.
They only produced the.
Hey, they were directing some live action stuff.
No, but what I'm saying is they haven't directed anything for a while.
No. They've directed some live action stuff.
They've directed some.
Yeah, they've directed some live action stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
In space.
That's true.
See?
And also The After Party, which is a great show. Killed too soon. Oh no. Christopher Miller was working solo on that.
Oh, okay. Very good. Was he really? I thought it was both.
No, he directed solo on that.
Okay.
Yeah, Lord was just an executive producer.
Okay.
Yes, Project Hail Mary comes to cinemas on the 19th of March, 2026. Which I think might be one of the first 2026 movies we talked about in this podcast.
Hey, no. I'm sure there's a lot of trailers and things we've watched that have had 2026 as a release date, or have had no release date, and we don't know that they're coming in 2026.
That's true.
You know, I think this is the first thing you can say that we've talked about that has an official release date.
Yeah. Next trailer, Relay, directed by David Mackenzie, starring Lily James, Riz Ahmed, and Sam Worthington. Tom is a secretive fixer who brokers payoffs on behalf of corrupt corporations. Sarah is a potential client who may need his protection. Tom, what do you think of the trailer of Relay?
That was a terrible synopsis.
Yes.
I'm going one up, one down on the trailer. I'm keen to check out the movie. I like the director. I like the cast. Like, there's a lot of things here. I will say the trailer is just a little bit of like, let's just show you the whole movie nearly in what seemed like chronological order. So yeah, trailer, one up, one down. Movie, more keen for.
Yep. Yeah, I'll give it one up, one down. It's got an interesting premise beyond that, like of his major means of communication is through this relay service, which is intended for
hard of hearing
people to communicate. And I guess is a way to keep his voice, a way to protect himself, like he's an element of anonymity. So it's really interesting, like running around with like a keyboard, like typing into this relay thing, and then it being, spoken, worded to Lily James.
Do you feel like Sam Worthington has the most random shit he pops up in?
Absolutely, when you got that Avatar mod, you can just pop up in anything. You know what I mean?
Like, other than Avatar, he just is in the most random shit. I would suggest he gets a new agent, to be honest, because if you're starring in some of the biggest movies,
I mean, if your agent got you in Avatar, I think it's a lifetime pass.
I guess, but it's just really
a movie that you'll be able to do until you're 80 because
I'm not. And again, I'm not saying that this movie's bad, but I just like my dude just pops up out of nowhere sometimes, and you just
also
he's alive.
Also love them calling Riz Ahmed Academy Award winner Riz Ahmed.
Yeah, he is Academy.
I know, but just the way it's presented is as if it's for acting, but it's not for acting. So, good for manipulating the facts. Appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Good points. Relay is coming to cinemas on the 21st of August. Next trailer is for The Cat in the Hat. Or I guess it's called Dr. Seuss's Cat in the Hat.
No, the movie's called The Cat in the Hat.
No, it's officially called Dr. Seuss's The Cat in the Hat. To differentiate it from the other Cat in the Hat.
What's the other Cat in the Hat?
The one with freaking...
Oh, Mike Myers.
Yes, that one.
Live action.
Live
this
action.
One's animated.
Yes.
They did the same thing for The Grinch. Now they're doing it.
Yeah, they're done in the same order, yeah. Directed by Alessandra Carloni and Erica Rivenoja. Starring Bill Hader, Chotel Gomez, Matt Berry, Quinta Brunson, Paul Appel, Tiago Martinez, Giancarlo Esposito, America Ferrera, Bowen Yang, and Titus Burgess. Meet the cat in the hat you don't know. In the wonderfully whimsical tradition of Dr. Seuss, the Cat in the Hat comes to the big screen in his animated theatrical feature film debut, an all-new epic adventure with an edge where mischief, magic, and mayhem reign supreme. Doing what he does best, the cat, voiced by Bill Hader, spreads joy to kids in his hilarious signature and singular, irreverent way, transporting them and audiences on a fantastical journey through a world they've never seen before. In the film, a hero takes on the toughest of assignments yet for the Institute for the Institution of Imagination Inspiration, LLC, to cheer Gabby and Sebastian, a pair of siblings struggling with their move to a new town. Known for taking things too far, this could be this agent of chaos's last chance to prove himself, or lose his magical hat.
Holy fuck.
That was a description. Dylan, what did you think of the... Well, I just ripped it from Wikipedia. Dylan, what did you think of the trailer for this animated cat in the hat?
I don't like it. I'm going to be honest. Double thumbs down.
Wow.
I don't like the animation style. It looks weird. Something looks off. Colors look off. Looks like it has no lines. I'm not a fan of it. And then the storyline just seems like we're just doing the basic Cat in the Hat storyline, but adding in this little prologue part about the imagination and whatever else. Anyway, yeah, I didn't like it. It didn't vibe with me at all. Obviously, it's meant for target kids, but maybe in New York City.
If Matt Berry does that voice, it didn't sound exactly like that in the entire movie. 10 out of 10.
Maybe a 10 out of 10 then.
Yeah.
I hope he voices the things. Because I don't know if we know who he voices. I hope he voices all 900 things, yes.
They're all just slightly different tone.
Yeah, I'd be 100% down for that.
I'm sure we can find out.
I don't know. I tried looking it up after I watched the trailer last week or whenever it dropped, and I couldn't find an answer. So,
yeah, I'm gonna give it 1 up, 1 down. I think it looks fun. It's not as interesting as him playing the things.
He's just playing like one of the random people from the Imagination.
No, he's a pretty prominent character.
Oh, who then? The fish?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
My water bowl.
Yeah, that sort of works. Gatsby, my water ball going to New York City.
There is no one lists the things.
Titus Burgess then.
Could be. He has got an undisclosed role. Yeah, I mean, 1 up, 1 down. It looks far. I didn't mind the animation style, although the first time I saw like a bit of the trailer was like on Instagram, and like I looked at the comments and they're like, "Oh, what prompts did you put in for this?" Stuff like that, as if it's like been all AI generated and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, it looks fine. I have not watched the Mike Myers Cat in the Hat original live action.
Have you not? I've watched it a lot.
I don't know. I was just
out of the age, I guess. Yeah. Our few years age difference. I think that came out when I was young enough to enjoy it. Still, so.
yeah, it looks fun enough. It seems like they're expanding. Obviously, they're expanding the book, but also pulling elements that actually from the book. I think all the things look really adorable and that kind of stuff, and I enjoyed the segment with cats walking through the institute with all the other creatures that have things. You know what I mean? Magical
So
accessories.
Cat in Hat came out when I was 11.
Yeah. All right. I guess we'll see how this one pans out. Because I think the animation is definitely, I think, splitting people. So, The Cat in the Hat comes to cinemas on the 19th of March, 2026. Is that right? Let me just double check that. So what are the odds?
Well, they got to spend some time getting in there to draw some, finish drawing the animation first. So.
Yeah. No, that's right. Both those movies are coming out on the same day here in Australia.
What a double feature.
Yeah.
Pretty sure those trailers came out. No, they actually didn't. What came out on the same day as this? The Running Man trailer, I think.
Yeah.
I think I woke up to the inbox being like, Cat in the Hat trailer, Running Man trailer.
Yep. All right. Next trailer is for Sentimental Value, directed by Joachim Trier, starring Renate Rizvi, Stellan Skarsgård, Inga Isdotter, Lilias, Elle Fanning, Corey Michael Smith, and Anders Danielson Lee, or Lie. After the death of their mother Cecil, the estranged sisters Nora and Agnes Borg are forced to confront their distant father Gustav, a once famous but now almost forgotten film director who abandoned their family when the girls were still young. Nora, now a driven stage actress, has prioritized her career above all else, while Agnes chose a stable life with a husband, child, and secure job, creating a stark contrast that further strains their relationship. Gustav, convinced that an autobiographical screenplay he's written will be his ticket back to fame, wants to tell the stories of his mother, who took her own life in the family home of Norway, a place still partially owned by him and haunted by the trauma he endured during the Nazi torture during the war. He offers the lead to Nora, but she firmly refuses, prompting him to cast Hollywood actress Rachel Kemp instead, whom he meets through a retrospective of his films in France. As filming begins, Gustav seizes the opportunity not only to revive his artistic legacy, but also to mend the deeply fractured relationships with his daughters. Obviously, I think won at Cannes, was very well received at Cannes. Dylan, what do you think of the trailer for Sentimental Value?
Very, very keen. Double thumbs up. 2021's Worst Person in the World. Fantastic film. This is obviously the follow-up. Using the same lead actor in Renat Rainsvies, or what did you say it was?
Yes, that sounds close to what I said.
Yeah. So all of that, I was already pretty keen for this, and then watched the trailer when it dropped the other day. I'll tell you what, this is one of the weeks where I'd already watched all the trailers that you'd sent through. Yeah, it's a pretty good week. Pretty good. That's a good sign.
I mean, it's a good week, and there was a lot of trailers out this week. Yeah, some not as good as this.
No, some weeks there's no trailers, and I've watched and you send 3 5, and I'm like, what the fuck is any of this shit? Anyway, not this week. I was on top of it this week. Very, very, very keen. Disappointed it won't play in my cinema, so I'll have to wait even longer to watch it because that's going to be a sad point. But yeah, I mean, just based off this, I think it's interesting subject matter. It's really great cast. Obviously, everyone's saying Stellan Skarsgård's so good in the trailer, it just gets me more amped for it. And then trailer looks great, and then I really enjoyed the last film. Sort of helps amp it up a bit in my head. So yeah, very keen.
Yep. 2000 for me. I think it looks fantastic. Obviously, it won the Grand Prix at Cannes this year, which is the second most prestigious prize after the Palme d'Or. Looks fantastic. Incredible cast. Interesting premise. Stellan Skarsgård. Like, the hype for Stellan Skarsgård's performance in this is very high. We already loved him this year, and also, he's leading those Skarsgårds to greatness. So yeah, very, very keen. Definitely one to keep your eye on this year. So officially, it's meant to release here in Australia wide on the 8th of January 2026. But I've already seen that it's playing here in select cinemas in Brisbane end of this month. I'm sure it will pop up at different festivals during the year, so I'm sure you will be able to see it before the 8th of January, unless you live in Tasmania. Or, like, some very remote place.
What's the difference? Yeah.
Last trailer for this week. The Running Man. Directed by Edgar Wright. Starring Glenn Powell, William H. Macy, Lee Pace, Amelia Jones, Michael Cera, Daniel Urza, Jamie Lawson, Coleman Domingo, and Josh Brolin. A man joins a game show where contestants are allowed to go anywhere in the world, are pursued by hunters hired to kill them. Dylan, what do you think of this trailer for The Runner Man?
Sorry, I was picturing Michael Cera shooting people with water pistols. And the fact that shot into my head as I went to think about the trailer is a testament to how much I enjoyed the trailer. Yeah, double thumbs up. Very keen. I love the look and vibe of this. Doesn't look anything like the Arnie film, and I think that's only a good thing. Glenn Powell looks to be having a great time sort of playing this likable arsehole. Is, I think, probably the character type we're going for. Josh Brolin's doing a good job at playing the guy you want to hate. Coleman Domingo doing a fantastic job hosting the game show. That's terrible to think about as a reality that we could be coming to. And then Michael Cera, again, I don't know what the fuck his character is, but what I think that's my favorite thing I saw in the whole trailer is just whatever his character is, whatever that guy's story is, I'll watch the movie to find out more on that alone, to be honest. And then, yeah, you see a good mix of all the Edgar Wright styles and stuff that he's come to learn over the many projects he's done now, and the sort of his frenetic action style across this. And, you know, again, Glenn Powell is, as the reason I picked it, is the go-to guy currently. Is that he'll draw people into the movie theater, I think so.
Yeah. 2 thumbs up from me as well. Again, I don't think it's going to surprise anyone. I have not watched the original Running Man, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. But I think you'll agree with me in that this is a movie that makes 100% to remake in 2025, with the way reality television has developed and gone and that kind of stuff, and with movies like The Hunger Games and that kind of stuff. This makes 100% sense to remake in a modern setting. You know what I mean?
Well, when I think I wrote in the newspaper I put up WDYWW.com. It's like when you watch this trailer, you think about the core conceit of this story. Like, oh god, that's closer than it could have been. The Arnie film came out in like 87, like nearly early 90s. I'm like, the idea of this would have been like, in a million years, you know.
Now it's
2025. We're like,
tomorrow.
Could Trump do this tomorrow? Like,
yeah, totally. And yeah, it just looks very funny and fantastic and action packed, like you would expect from an Edgar Wright film. So yeah, and Glenn Powell, you know, probably submit himself.
He does Arnie does the same thing in his movie, but not anywhere near as good as what I can see from him, which is just the grabbing when he grabs the camera and he like gives the finger and all that. There's a part in it must be from the book because I haven't read it either, but like Arnie does the same thing in his version where he like grabs the camera and he's like, "Oh, you gotta kill me!" Oh! You know, like
yeah. All right, The Running Man is coming to cinemas on the 6th of November.
Also, shout out to KDO O'Brien.
Oh, and Coleman Domingo, like, how good is he in that? You know, like popping up, doing his best. Stanley Tucci from the Hunger Games.
Yeah, I was thinking Stanley Tucci Hunger Games too.
Yeah. It's hard not to. All right, let's move to this week's top 3.
Definitely in the top 3.
And we are at the halfway point of the year, so naturally there's half a year of movies that have come out, but we've missed a couple. This week's top 3 is top 3 2025 movies we've missed. Dylan, what's number 3?
No, number 3 is a movie that I think just left cinemas, but it wasn't playing here anyway, so I couldn't have watched it. But Dangerous Animals, which we gave tickets away for on Explosion Network. But this movie, a lot of people just who I like have said it was good, which is obviously a good testament. But basically, it's a I believe Jai Courtney basically plays a dude who, I don't know, I think he's a serial killer who kidnaps people on a boat when they go out to feed
this
sharks. I think is the cool thing, and everyone said that he's really good in it. What I can understand, the rest of the cast is good, and like it looks like it's a shark movie based on the poster, but I think like sharks are there, but it's more of a like
Sharks are the
serial killer
tool that he uses to cover up his serial killers.
Yeah, I think it's more of it's more of a thriller than a like a, but not like a shark thriller, like more like a serial killer thriller sort of thing. But yeah, everyone says Guy Courtney's really good in it and stuff. So obviously Australian film as well. So yeah, keen for that. That's my first pick. Also, shout outs. The director of that, Sean Byrne. When I watched the trailer for this last month, whenever it was, made me think about the 2009 film The Loved Ones, which I want to give a shout out to because I remember weirdly that did play in the cinemas here, and I have no idea why. Went and saw an early screening, and they handed out
the
like
one where there's it's like a prom
on the
date
poster.
or something.
Yep,
and she got a transport or something.
Yep,
it's
really
Emma
memorable.
Lung, I want to think off the top of my head.
The girl, no, the girl's Robin McLeavy.
No, got it wrong.
But the poster is very memorable though. Xavier Samuel was the boyfriend who's kidnapped on the top. But anyway, I remembered that movie because when I was looking at this, and I just went, "Fuck, that was a good movie." Like it was a movie I hadn't thought about for ages, and it just made me go, "Fuck, that's a good movie." Yeah,
I got that completely wrong. My number 3, The Day the World Blew Up, the Looney Tunes movie. Obviously, finally got released in Australia. Didn't get a chance to see it. Is now available on digital, and we'll probably get around to watching it because it is, reports, a really fun time. And obviously, like
not watching it out of
Well, now that the Coyote vs. Acme is coming, I will. Yeah.
Oh yeah, another place brought it or whatever. Yeah,
the same place who bought this.
Yeah, that's right. You
so
said that, yeah. Oh, yeah, maybe I can watch it then.
Yeah. I'm very keen to watch it. Just did not get the opportunity to finish the cinema. For reports, it's most people have enjoyed it from what I can see. 86% on Rotten Tomatoes, 6.9 on IMDb. I did see people like be upset about it. Wow, like look at the Google ratings, which have historically been the last few times I've looked at Google ratings on this podcast. Lots of ones. This one, lots of 5 stars. So it got a 4.5. So, very keen to watch that. Dylan, what's number 2?
Number 2 is Warfare.
My number 2 is Warfare.
There you go. So, never saw it in the cinema. Missed it in cinema. It is available now to rent, which I've been tempted to do
on Prime Video.
Times. Is it right? So I could happily watch it, and I do want to watch it very soon. Sit down, be the right thing. However, every review I saw, and even the one podcast, I was obviously the big picture I talked about here before. They talked about then how much like a cinematic experience was, and it sort of just like disappointed me how I didn't watch it from the way that I guess sounds like
intended,
the most intended. So still going to watch it. Still keen to watch it because it is a Alex Garland co-directed, co-written project with Ray something or other.
Ray Mendoza.
There we go. So obviously very keen for it in the cast and everything like that. But yeah, just slightly disappointed I didn't get a chance to watch it in the in cinemas. But yeah, still number 2.
Yeah, everything you said, 100% agree. Very interesting concept and like how they want to execute it. True story, and like how they shot it and like that kind of stuff, and how much of how close the crew got together, or like the cast got like bonding during the shoot and that kind of stuff. You saw from some of the media stuff they did and that kind of stuff, and like a lot of up and coming actors amongst that group. So, yeah,
I think that the other thing I found really interesting in any interviews I've watched is obviously because Ray Mendoza's obviously he's
military, like
one of the characters based on military and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and Alex Garland, as you can tell by a lot of his films and stuff, definitely has like an anti-war mentality to him. So, but they co-direct this thing and they direct different parts or whatever, and you can tell when they talk about the movie that even if they don't see that, that's how I sort of view quite often what the two of them are saying. But I do find it very interesting, just in like what is art sort of way. Like Alex Garland isn't interested in having his co-director agree with him as much as he is. He's like, like you can tell deep down he's like having deep down, even if our opinions are different, it sort of helps the project. So
yeah,
it's a weird pairing. But
all right, well then, what's your number one, Dylan?
The Phoenician Phoenician scheme? Phoenician scheme. Yeah, I mean, I just want to watch Benicio del Toro fuck around for a while, you know? Is that what the movie's about? I don't really know what the movie's about.
I believe that's exactly what the movie's about. You're just fucking around on set, you know?
Yeah, obviously, Wes Anderson's new movie, in which he plays a businessman of some sort, and
He's like a world leader. Oh no,
does he? I can't remember. No, isn't he a businessman? Yeah, head of a company or something. The things for us. Look, yeah, I love the trailer. Very keen to watch it. This is also the first time we get Michael Cera in a shout out to him again in a Wes Anderson project. Keen to see Richard Ayoade in this one based on trailer. Some of the returning people he's worked with recently, I'm keen to see in this, like Tom Hanks, obviously, who I hadn't. Benedict Cumberbatch returning in this as well, doesn't he? After working with him with those Netflix things?
shorts, yeah.
Yeah. After, so he liked working with him there, has brought him in there. Yeah, so this will be number one Wes Anderson movie, right? Yeah.
Yep. My number one is Black Bag, the Steven Soderbergh spy film that got much love, but nobody went to watch, except Dylan. Surprisingly,
true. And I gave it love. I'll say
you gave it a lot of love,
but I said it was good. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is currently sitting number 7 on Metacritic for movies this year.
As Steven Soderbergh said after the movie horribly flopped, he said, "If no one goes watch movies like this, I fear for the next generation of filmmakers."
Yeah. So
yep,
I will try to help alleviate Steven Soderbergh's film fears by watching this sometime before the end of the year. So yeah. I think this was actually a hard list to put together of stuff, because I feel like I've watched most of the stuff that I've wanted to watch.
So we had one crossover, we had one separate thing each, and then the one. So I picked nothing you've watched, but at least so. I think last time we did a list like this, there was 2 things like I picked that you'd watched.
Last year.
So,
Dylan, this week, what do you want to watch?
Superman. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Fuck everything else.
Now do the Hum Cinema score. No, it's not catchy. You know what I mean?
Did you see they played Zack Snyder and Gunn played their own characters on an episode of something this week? I can't remember what show it was now. Something aired yesterday, like some comedy TV show, where the 2 of them voiced their own characters and they were having a fight with each other about which one's version of Superman's better. If you want to Google that.
It was on Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty, there you go. Yeah, so they voiced themselves on Rick and Morty. That's pretty funny.
That is. I was like, what is it, like Robot Chicken or something like that? Like, that would make sense, but no.
I appreciate they're up. I appreciate they're up for the laugh.
I think, the internet is playing into the feud as if they don't like each other. I think Zack Snyder has very much moved on, has no ill will towards James Gunn, and they are friendly,
Mm-hmm.
He's not on this wallets closed campaign, like bring back the Snyderverse thing. I think he's happy that everything is done. So, yeah.
TV front wise, I will pick. I'm actually quite. I don't know if this counts. Oh, is that cheating? I'm picking a TV movie, or it's a doco. No, I'm not picking that. That's too much of me. I'm pick too much. I'll pick too much.
Just say it.
TV show. No, I can't. It's one movie. It's one TV show.
No, because rules don't matter.
It's one movie, one TV show. One movie, TV
well, I'll break the rules because I can guess what you want to say.
No, you can't. You can't. You're not.
It's my podcast. I can say whatever I want to say. I want to watch Superman. I'm very excited to see it. There is a Jaws documentary coming out this week
God damn it!
called Jaws at 50, the definitive inside story. I'm 100% sure that's what you're talking
Since
about.
you brought it up, I would be keen to watch that. Yeah, you're right.
Where is that coming? Binge, I think.
Mm.
No, Disney Plus. You know.
Disney Plus. Yeah.
And seeing as I'm already breaking the rules immensely, there is a comedy called A Nice Indian Boy coming out in cinemas, starring what's his name? Karan Soni, who obviously voiced Indian Spider-Man in Spider-Verse, who becomes engaged to a white man who was raised by Indian parents, played by Jonathan Groff, who are getting married.
Wow.
Great.
Okay.
Apparently, very, very loved. Number 6 on top movies of the year on Metacritic so far.
Oh, sorry, I just looked up the actor. That's
Also from Deadpool.
yeah, that's what I picture him from.
Yeah,
whatever
it
his
makes
character his name is, but yeah, the Deadpool's taxi driver. Yeah.
Yes. All right, let's know what you want to watch this week. And are you offended that you said more than one movie this week? I'm sure you don't really care. But let us know on social media at on Blue Sky at explosionnetwork.com or on other social media at Explosion Pod. If you want to help us out here or what do you want to watch, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Podchaser. Leave us 5 stars, and you can leave 5 stars or just tell people about the show. And if you've enjoyed this episode, thought it was worth $1, head on over to our Ko-fi page at explosionnetwork.com/support. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.